Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of your favorite. To, why am I getting feedback? Can you guys hear that?
Are you on a meeting?
Are you guys hearing feedback
Don't, so that we can come out.
from like I'm hearing what I said again. Like there's
I'm
a
not hearing any
delay.
feedback. I can mute myself, see what happens.
Okay, okay. I'll just go on like that. But I'm getting feedback of my mic again for some reason. Yeah. All right. So today we have a lot to talk about. But before we start, I would like you to please follow and subscribe. Please give us your comments, everything. We want good feedback. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. On Facebook and YouTube, it's Footie Fantasy. That's FOOTIE Fantasy. FANTASY. On Twitter, it is Footie AD Fantasy. FOOTIE Alpha Delta Fantasy. Please follow us. Let's get some feedback from you. We always love to hear good feedback. Whatever feedback it is, negative or positive, is all good feedback. So let's kick off. With me today is Mr. Steven returning. It's been a long time, all the way from Canada. He used to be with us right here, and then he decided to jack back to Canada. I hope Canada is treating you well, Onoche. Welcome.
It's great. It's great. Thanks, man. Good to see you, Butchie.
My pleasure. With us here is Mr. Chelsea himself. Dada carries Chelsea on his head. We're lucky Chelsea won today because this man won't have shown. He would have just disappeared. He would have been in the museum right now doing a Sunday project. Dada, good to see you again. Welcome.
Man, likewise, man. Thanks for having me on.
At the museum.
So
That's funny.
let's start. The big one. Nigeria. Um, Dada, I want you to give me a quick summary of what you thought about the Nigerian game.
Man,
No
you know,
tears,
I,
please. No
actually,
tears.
I was hoping that the Tata was here since he's like more knowledgeable about Nigerian soccer. So I have to be honest. In the past few, I think I want to say this is the second. Yeah, this is actually the first AFCON in the past three competitions that I've actually followed. Like I've watched. I want to say 60% of the group games, or maybe half of the group games, right? And I've watched all Nigerian games. So I was actually invested in this AFCON for some reason. I don't know why. Like typically, I'm gonna be honest, most country competitions I just kind of skip out on, right? But for some reason this year I just felt very like emotionally invested, which, based on Butch's advice or most advice, the number one thing you don't do is invest emotionally in in Nigerian football because they're all gonna disappoint you. And that disappointment came rather surprising this year because we had the best record in the group stage. I think we only considered uh, one goal, and we beat Egypt 1-0. We beat Sudan 2-0, and then it was gosh, who did we play last in our group? Gosh, I can't remember. But anyways, that game ended 3-1, right? So, all everything indicated that at this point of the tournament, Chelsea, I mean not Chelsea, Nigeria were the uh Nigeria were the clear favorites by a huge margin, right? So going to the Tunisia game, I mean, and the thing that's a bit, I won't say, well, it's not even on. I mean, it's a bit unfair because Tunisia lost two games in their group matches, but due to the way the tournament is set up, if you finish third, you can still follow through depending on how well you do. So And in terms of expectations, I mean, I had a lot of expectations going in. I thought we'd comfortably win, 2-0. So I was already even thinking, okay, by next week Saturday, we're going to play Burkina Faso in the quarterfinals. We should be through to the semifinals. Like I was already doing the math, like when the whistle blew. But the first 15 minutes, like Tunisia was off to the races. And at that point in time, it was starting to look like, and we lost a lot of battles in the midfield. Nigeria was just very lethargic. Um, so that first 15 minutes, I was starting to think, man, maybe this is a game that we actually may not win. But then after 45 minutes, and then it occurred to me that, man, we may not win this game. And then when Tunisia scored, I mean, there was a reaction from Nigeria, but then it will be, and we'll get to the will be red card in a bit. But to be honest with you guys, from the first few minutes, we just did not look like the same Nigerian team. I mean, when we played Egypt, we were slick with our passes. The threat was there. The wing back, like everything was just looking so good. So yeah, I don't know. It was very, very disappointing at this point in time, and I know it sucks, and maybe I need to be more Pan African. I don't want to watch the tournament again. I'm kind of done, in all honesty. But I just don't know. I mean, how Tunisia won it. It's shocking to me. I think, but then again, that's the nature of group matches, right? I mean, Switzerland lost. I mean, Switzerland beat France. I mean, like group. I mean, knockout games are very, very tricky. It's just all about. I mean, if you run that probability, if you run maybe 1,000 scenarios where Nigeria plays Tunisia, there's only two outcomes where Tunisia could win, and this was one of them. So Nigeria was very disappointing. We were not the better team. I don't care what anybody says. I felt like that was a 50-50% red card, and it was just one of those days that didn't go our way. So that was my take, man. It was disappointing, really.
Onoche, what do you think? What do you think about the game?
Yeah, I went through the highlights, the report. I think what that I said is true. It looks like an upset. But what makes it worse is that Tunisia was, I think they were the third in their group, so they barely made it in. They had one win and two losses. I don't even know how they made it in
They made it in on goals difference.
AFCON. So,
Yeah.
and then I just looked at the lineups. We're always going to go strong with Moses because Moses Simon has been incredible through the tournament. But I would have liked to see Iwobi play, even though he's not really spectacular for Nigeria. But he does bring some good decision making because he has so much high level experience compared to the rest of the team. And then for some reason they benched or they removed Uzoho, who like the regular goalie, and put a new goalie for Nigeria, which is just weird. I mean, how did Okoye get to play? And then he got beaten by a long range shot. So I mean, I don't even know the Tunisia team really to speak on them, but
I think
it
the guy.
seemed like
You're right, Onache. The guy should have saved that. I mean, that was some very, very Kepa time. He should have saved that shot.
kept the type say, yeah, but how did he even get to play? I've never seen this Okoye guy really, and you would think at a major tournament you've used, and Uzo has been good all through the group stage. So once you get to the knockout round, you should be going with your best goalie. Like I don't see but hey man, I think it's the coach's first big tournament with Nigeria too, right? Augustin.
Yeah, he's actually a temporary coach, so
Yeah.
one of those.
We always have this way of keeping a coach on contract for years and then changing right before the big tournament. Like, do you guys notice? It kind of happens a lot with Nigeria. Before the World Cups, we would change. In the year of the World Cup, we'd always get a new coach. And in the group stages, you could fight it out, but it always hurts us in the knockout rounds where you really have to add some tactics to that just base level warrior mentality. So, hey man, what can I say? Nigeria disappoints again. I'm sorry.
It's a shame.
It's to Tunisia, man.
It's a
Tunisia used to
shame.
be good, but I don't think their team is great now.
Yeah, I'd say the same. The one thing I know about Nigerian football is whenever Nigeria is hyped up, they're about to mess up. If they're not hyped up, they do better. It's been their modus operandi since I've known them. Hype them up, they do good. Don't, they do, you know, once you begin to expect a lot, Nigeria shows you their true colors. That's the best way to put it. I think Nigerian players went on a holiday after the group stages. They thought they were the best team. I mean, they believe their own hype, best team in the tournament, blah, 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 blah. And it came back to haunt them. It was very, very disappointing to see what happened, because losing a football match 1-0 is painful, but it happens. It's football. You can lose any game. But losing the way we did without fight was bad. That hurt. That I think hurt me more than the loss itself, because it looked like these guys. Tunisia was a team you were supposed to dominate, and then you get there and they start dominating you, and you never assert yourselves. You go one goal down, which you always expect Nigeria to react, but Nigeria did not really play well from what I've seen from every other person. I try to be like, okay, look, let it not be about how my own feelings. Let me talk to other people, and everybody I spoke to were mad. I didn't meet any Nigerian that said, "Oh, we were unlucky. We got beat," and that's very painful. And the less we talk about it, the better. The less
A
we
quick
talk about it, the
correction,
better.
Double T.
Like that, I was already doing permutations. Oh, we're going to meet Egypt or Ivory Coast in the semis. Whoever wins that game is going to the final. Blah blah blah. They did it to me again. So please, please, please. Right now, and, I'm looking for another African country to support. I know I can't
You
support,
can't,
I can't
man.
support all these West African countries, and I'm not supporting Tunisia. They knocked us out, so I'm wondering who I'm going to support now. But it's been a good tournament. To be very fair, it's been a good tournament. Burkina Faso doing well today was a shocker too. Um, they deserve to win, but them coming this far in the tournament wasn't that expected. But they've done well. They've gotten to the quarters, and from here they could go anywhere. I would say they were a bit lucky in the sense that the game could have gone anyway. Gabon created a lot of chances, but they didn't really create clear-cut chances. Burkina Faso should have scored more because they were better up front. But as long as it's a 1-0 game, there's always chance for anything to happen. And finally, this guy scored in the last minute an own goal, and you know they couldn't score again, and it went to penalties. And Burkina Faso, who missed a penalty in the game, now turned around and didn't miss any and did very well. So, looking forward, I would say scratch and throw out everything you know about the group stages and start. It's almost like the NFL now. Everybody that was strong now seems to be losing. All the underdogs are winning this weekend. So maybe that might be what might happen. One thing I take out of the African Cup of Nations is that the gap. It's not like Europe where there's so many bad teams and so many good teams. The gap between the top teams and the mid teams is not that much, and so that's why people like Ghana are getting knocked out because they think they're a top team, but they're not anymore. Does anybody have anything to say about that game? The
Hey,
Burkina Faso Gabon game.
quick thing before going to that game. So, quick correction. Iwobi did start the game, but got a red card. What did you guys think about that red card? Was it deserved? Or what actually?
Didn't he come on as a sub?
That's right.
I thought he came on as a sub.
Yeah, he came in. He came in and spent 5 minutes and got
Yeah,
a
he
red
came in
card.
as a sub. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, I thought I saw. I didn't see him in the original lineup.
yeah, he came in
Yeah,
as a
he
sub.
came
He
on
got a
as a
red
sub.
card in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, he came on as a sub. And so I mean, I mean, even in our group right now, there's a lot of controversy. I won't even call it controversy. Like there's just this camp of people who find it very fashionable to speak negatively of AFCON. And, I think they kind of project their insecurities about the continent as a whole on AFCON, saying, AFCON is an example of everything that's wrong with Africa as a continent. And personally, I don't have time for that. I've done the best I can to shut down inferior thinking like that. Uh, and when it comes to officiating and just bad refs, you see that everywhere, right?
That's right.
Then, like, if I was to remove myself as a Nigerian fan, yeah, that red card was probably, as I said earlier, 50%, 50-50. I can even say like 70-30, right? But you see those things being called, right? And I understand if Nigeria were on the front foot prior to the red card, and it was like, man, you know what? The red card like drastically changed the dynamics of the game, then I'd be a lot angrier. But in the first 45 minutes, we didn't look like the better side. Like the only time we looked like the better side was in the last 20 minutes where we were scrambling for a goal, right? And even that was not even convincing. So, I mean, whether it's a fair red card or not, I don't know how much that would have changed the outcome of things. But Iwobi is an Arsenal fan. That's what you expect from Arsenal
Oh
players.
my
They have that
God, you
Arsenal
had to go there.
they have that
You had
Arsenal
to go
blood of
there.
disappointment, rubbishness, just anything they touch goes to
He's
crap.
channeling his Shaka
Exactly, exactly.
Shaka
So,
vibes.
I mean, it's no surprise that Arsenal has one of the worst disciplinary record in the league. And what do you expect of their line, right? So,
Ooh, I think the red card. I agree. The red card maybe gives an excuse. It gives them an easy out. They can go the ref, but nah. The ref didn't do anything. They messed up. They lost that game on their own accord. That's the truth. That's how I also feel. Like they were not a better team on the day. And when you play teams that are underdogs and they beat you by luck, it's understandable. But you didn't play well enough to be. If you get what I'm saying, they didn't play well enough, so they shouldn't. That red card shouldn't even be a discussion. Um, that's just how I feel. I think I might be channeling a lot of anger, but to be very, very fair, I think Nigeria did not deserve to win the game. They were not the best team. So I'm going to move on, unless you guys want to talk about the African Cup of Nations. I
I'm
think we should
done.
just wait for the quarterfinals and the second round to be over. Then we know who's going in next, and then we can maybe make predictions going forward. Because now, it's not too much predictions you can make. We have some comments. I wanted to pick them. Yeah, Kunle was saying that Iwobi was the sub for Iheanacho. Iheanacho went out and then Iwobi came in. It was actually almost like for like, because even though Iheanacho is a striker, he was playing 10 for Nigeria, and then Iwobi came in and was playing 10. And unfortunately, 10 is a big position for Nigeria. And once there's no 10, our game really messes up. It's
Yeah,
dependent on that 10. So, well, we'll move on.
Iwobi's not a 10. It's tough actually. It's a tough game because there's so many questions I have. I wish I could see these games. It's kind of like once you miss it because no major channel here
Broadcaster.
is really
Yeah.
broadcasting it.
Yeah.
So once it's gone, it's gone. But I'd love to see why is Hannah being taken off. It just seemed like so many decisions, like I was saying in the beginning, so many things that just had a question mark for me. But hey, it's tough. It's a tough job out there, especially for a new coach.
It is tough. It is tough.
But yeah,
So,
okay.
I brought both of you here today. You're here because you're both you're Chelsea and a Spurs fan.
Oh
So I'll
yeah.
be gracious and we go to you first, Steven.
All right.
So, what do you think about the game? Just the game first, before we go on to deeper discussions about Chelsea Spurs. What do you think about the game? Give me a quick review.
So first thing is Chelsea has our number this season. It's clear. It's clear. So whenever you're in a series of battles with a team like this, and they've won a series of those battles before, you have a mental hill to get over. But you also have to do something different tactically. So when I looked at the lineups, I was happy that it seemed Kante changed up from his normal 3-4-3 because we lost to Chelsea twice in the League Cup. Like I can't remember. We've already played in the Premier League, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Early in the season,
Earlier in
early
the
in the
season.
season.
Yeah.
What was that result?
2-0.
2-0 Chelsea. Okay, so that's even added. That's before Kante. So he changed up from his 3-4-3, put two strikers in front, Bergwijn and Kane. And I just felt that pairing is not going to get anything against Chelsea, because Bergwijn was hot from our win against Leicester, the most amazing win of the Premier League season so far. He wanted to keep him hot, and I like that in the coach. I see where he was thinking, but putting Bergwijn with Kane as a two against Rudiger and Silva was just not going to work. Tottenham's problem, especially against a good team like Chelsea, is that we want to base our game on our defensive midfielders, but our defensive midfielders don't have the quality to supply the strikers we have. Best thing about Tottenham is the strikers. It's Kane, it's Moura, it's Son. But we have midfielders like the best of them, Højbjerg. This guy is a old school, box to box, slightly more defensive midfielder. But he doesn't have any creativity to play balls into space. Same thing with Skip. And then Winks is just learning to play balls into space under Kante. So we just don't have the central midfield to supply those strikers. So if we keep basing our game on that, and that's the basis of Conte's 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 is always those defensive midfielders. We need to have a game plan that involves people like Ali in the middle, making runs into the middle, people like Lo Celso, especially against these teams where the defense is so good that you need that late run, you need a well-timed run, you need a ball into space to at least stretch that defense. So as long as you keep Winks and Skip sitting back or Højbjerg sitting back in a three, they're just not going to create much. So the game is going to be balls to Harry Kane. He's trying to control balls against Rudiger. Harry Kane is a great finisher, but he's never the best in trying to make the ball stick in 50-50 challenges. He's just not that guy. He doesn't win many of them. You want the ball at his feet. He's running onto, facing forward, facing defenders. Kind of like Lukaku. Just because Lukaku's big, everybody likes to think that he's going to be incredible playing with his back to the goal, but he's not. He's just not. That's not his thing. This is like, when you see a big boy, like a big kid, and you play basketball, right? Like, no, I play hockey, my brother. Like, what I'm saying? Like, that's Kane, that's Lukaku. They are not Duncan Ferguson. They're not those guys, So I thought that we weren't going to get much just from the way we play. And then another thing I looked at, just from the lineups is I wanted us to target Jorginho. Because anytime I see Jorginho in the middle, for me, even though he's creative, that's a weak link physically for us to put somebody like Ali in that 10 position. So it's a matchup against him, or Son in that position. It's a matchup against him because he's going to sleep sometimes. This, he's going to take some naps defensively if you actually had somebody there. And we didn't. Like I said, we had those three midfielders sitting back. Winks, Højbjerg, Skip. So I didn't think we would get much. On the Chelsea side, you guys aren't doing great either. Lukaku's in kind of bad form, even though I would put more money on Lukaku getting something out of our defense than on Kane and Bergwijn getting something out of your defense. But Lukaku was just really bad. But you guys got the luck.
I think you're making excuses because I think Chelsea's form hasn't been that good. Defensively, they've been poor. I wouldn't have gone into Spurs Chelsea game not expecting the Spurs team to put some pressure on that defense. I think it's just because if you compare the two teams, you guys were at this moment, you guys are the guys that are better offensively. You look more solid as a team. Chelsea have been brittle in the past 6 to 8 weeks. They haven't really won any. They've won only one game apart from the League Cup games that beat you guys. They've won only one league game. Mm-hmm. And so what that tells me is that Chelsea are not in a good place. As a matter of fact, if they take out Spurs, they've only beaten one team.
Yeah, but it's not about excuses. I'm making a tactical assessment of this attack against this defense. So it's not about excuses, but just looking at the game. Kane is a striker that wants to run forward on the ball. Bergwijn wants to run into space. Silva and Rudiger don't let that happen. They are very
Yeah,
defensive
you're just
minded.
not going to get that space. That's pretty
Yeah,
much
they're
yeah,
very
you're not.
defensive minded defenders. They're not going to allow that space behind. If it was something, for example, if the defense was John Stones and Silva, see, then you may have a chance for something like that. But those are just not the defenders that it would. There's something that we're missing, Tottenham as a team. We do need a striker like Broha for Southampton, like Lukaku. That's less likely to be running in behind and wants to face up to the defenders. But that's a deeper point. I'll just say that I didn't expect us to get much, and then what Chelsea got, you guys got some lucky goals that those are some those were some incredible one in a lifetime goals, man.
You know what's interesting is what's interesting about that game was I actually thought going in, it really reminded me of how City were to us last season, where no matter what they did, we always one up them. You just kind of have those situations where certain teams where no matter what they do, I mean, you look at Man City where Pep did two CDMs, then he changed it to one and he changed it to zero. In all three instances, Chelsea still beat them, right? So you look at Spurs, and I'm not going to count the first of the season when you guys had Nuno. I'm just going to look at Kante, right? So the first time we played you guys was the first leg of the EFL, right? And it was like, what, 2-0, I believe?
Yeah.
And that game was just a shambles. Like, we were just running through you guys' midfield like it was nobody's business. And then when we went back to White Hart Lane, now, granted, that game was tricky because whoever scored first had the momentum. Kind of similar story. I believe that game ended 1-0, right? But it could have been 2, it could have been 3. So when that happened, I figured, okay, you know what? When you guys come over this time around, it'd be more compact and, you guys want to allow spaces. But unfortunately for you guys, as Zaza said, we just came off the back of drawing a game with Brighton, right? Where the general consensus coming out of that game was we needed to change our system. And I don't know if you noticed, Onoche, we actually went to a back four this time around. We kind of put a weird 4-2-2 back four with Colomarts in the door supporting Lukaku in the front. And now due to the fact that like Austin didn't have to do any kind of defensive work, bro, he was just running amok on the flank. Hudson Odoi. Yeah, Colomarts in the door. Yeah, he was just running amok on you guys. I mean, he had a field day.
He made Tanganga wish he had another job.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he could have easily gotten a red card in that game. But anyway, so I felt like there's that component. And there's some, I don't know if you listened to what's his name's Conte's interview at the end. And it's very, very clear you guys are a very weak squad, right? Like, the personnel, you guys are kind of weak on personnel. I'd probably say you guys are an attacking midfielder, 2 center backs, 1 defensive midfielder. So in terms of quality, you guys just couldn't match. That's one point. Another point is most coaches would have changed tactics coming in, but Kante is very, very, very stubborn. He's very rigid. He would down on the sword. So like he came in and you guys came in with a back three, almost played the same way you guys played the 2 previous games. Now, what could have helped you guys in those 3 features was maybe if you guys had Son, right? Someone who was more creative, who could get into spaces, who could hit Chelsea on the break. By the time you guys transition to the midfield, transition into a counter attack, Chelsea was already back sitting in position. Kovacic was already where he needs to be. So the transition was really slow. And a lot of times I was almost seeing like Kane in the midfield. Kane had to like drop back a lot of times. It almost felt like Kane was a box-to-box midfielder at some point, right? Because you're missing that Son link connect. Because typically what Kane would do is he would drop deep. Son already made a forward run. And
Omora on the other side.
Omora, on the other side would kind of do the work. So you guys didn't have that. But to be honest, I thought it was going to be a draw. After the first half, I thought it would be a draw. But I don't know what happened in the second round. In the second half, I mean, CH goal was just pure magical, right? But you have to understand, Onoche. He tried that kind of thing 3 times. The first time, Igor Lloris was up for it, right? Where he kind of did the little kick out, right? The second time around, I mean, no goalie's catching that.
Nah,
But
that's
granted, you give him a lot of space. The only reason why Chelsea performance didn't look as great as it was Lukaku also missed a lot of chances, right? If you think about like the couple three chances he had, but I'm one to. I mean, I always enjoy a good Spurs beating any day of the week. But I'll be honest with you, I was coming into that game thinking, "Oh, look, this is gonna be a draw. Because surely we can't beat you guys 3 times in a row." But no, I was wrong. We beat y'all 3 times in a row. At this point, I kind of wish
Light,
we're playing Spurs week in, week out.
lightning strikes his pulse a few
For
times this
real,
season. It
for
does
real.
strike there.
But
It's
I,
something
thi- I,
about our team, right? I actually like Kane dropping into the middle,
Yeah.
playing like an attacking midfielder because he's the most creative on our team. And as long as we don't have that midfielder, I would say let him drop in. He likes doing it anyway. He's one of those. He's kind of like Rooney. He's that guy that wants to be in the midfield, dropping back, doing all that. And sometimes you need to, if you're coaching, kind of watch a game and see a player's natural tendencies. And if that's his natural tendency, and we need that midfielder, why not let him drop there? But the problem was when he drops there, who's up front? It's Bergwijn. And
Bergwijn, yeah.
Bergwijn, as much as he has potential. If you ever watch this guy, he's a little bit like Pepe for Arsenal. He likes to be on the ball rather than making smart runs. His runs, when he makes runs, it's always just straight to run. And you'll get goals from that maybe once or twice, 3 times in the Premiership. But you really need to learn how to be curving your runs, how to be more intelligent, like Son. So once Kane drops back, it wasn't going to be great going forward. But there's so much about the game, too. We had Sessegnon coming back. So once I saw Sessegnon coming back, he's playing on the left. You're coming from injury after a month out to play against Chelsea, to play against the team that you have this, like I told you, kind of a mental hill, a tactical hill to climb. Sessegnon wasn't going to do anything against Chelsea. I have a thing about coaches bringing players back from injury in big games. I just don't think it works. I mean, you bring a player back from injury, you let him have a couple easy get the mental exercise back before you have him against a Manchester United or Chelsea. But at the risk of sounding like I know more than Kante, he was so married to his system. I'm telling you, once I saw his same, I think we had Winks and Hoiberg starting in the middle.
Yeah.
He's so married to that system of playing 2 or 3 defensive midfielders and then having wing backs do most of the attacking.
Though,
I just knew it was going to be a problem because the game was begging to isolate Jorginho, put a player on Jorginho. Because I just saw Chelsea game. You're playing Jorginho in the middle, no Kante.
but that's the
you have
problem
to
you
take
have.
advantage of that.
That's the problem you have with that system because if you're playing Højbjerg and Wings in the middle, that means it's Kane that has to drop to Mark into
I'm
that
saying you
midfield.
don't have to play Hoiberg and Winks in the middle. Like, why not have Ali in? Why not have Lo Celso in for this kind of game, especially the way that Chelsea are? We need those runners behind. And Kante has been on and off. I don't know. What's the reason that? Why is Kante not playing?
Well, he was injured. So the thing is, I mean, Kante is getting older, so I think Tuchel has been trying to manage his game time a lot more.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that's what it is. He's very injury prone.
Yeah,
So
and having injuries.
yeah, and also too, Kante, the combination of Kante and Kovacic or just doesn't blend as well. So I think that's what it does. So I think now it's really just like managing Kante, right? So bring him in when he's trying to close up games, or bringing him on. And no offense to this, bringing on maybe like tougher games, but to be honest though, the way you guys play, it's not a how do I put it? Like Kante is very, very good at like breaking up plays, right? So if you're playing like a city teams that are just gonna try to pass your life around, Spurs is not that, right? You know, what's his name? Kante is very big on like, okay, soak up pressure, counter attack. I don't have to like pass the ball like 100 times. It's more of like a compact, counter attack kind of manager. So you may not necessarily need a Kante for that because it's not a high
Yeah,
price. Like at Liverpool, yeah, you definitely need Kante, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasoning behind that. Is kind of like let's just manage his time and
yeah. And
use it
then
also to hold.
Kante is very press resistant. You press Kante, he runs past you,
Yes.
or he passes. It's one of those things people actually forget those parts of his game. His ability to progress the ball by driving or just passing. He has that little ability. Unlike like if you pressure Jorginho could lose the ball easily. Kante is not. I can't think of Kante losing too many balls. He tends to
Yeah.
keep the
He
ball. He
keeps it on.
retains possession a lot. The same thing with Kovacic, but not as
Well,
Kovacic
not
does
as
not drive like Kante does.
funny enough, Kovacic drives a lot. What Kovacic is not necessarily good at is recovery. So it's not a great one. Is not great at recovery, and also two, he doesn't read the game as well as Kante does. I feel like every time Kante gets the ball, he already knows here's what I'm gonna do. Like he already
Yeah.
knows I'm gonna do X, and if you block me on doing X, I'm gonna do Y. While Kovacic on the other end is very binary. Either he makes a misplaced pass or he drives forward, right? So those
Yeah.
are kind of two different
Yeah,
ways.
Conte is so stuck in his ways, man. I would have liked him to see the game, to see that Conte is not playing, and change the system to take advantage of Jorginho. That was the, but
I
just
think there's
knowing
also the
Conte and knowing how it's been, I when I looked at the lineup, I'm just like, we have nothing here.
But I was looking at the bench, right? And I
Yeah,
just thought of because you were mentioning names, and I said, okay, let me look at the lineup. And I looked at the bench, and some of these guys are not even on the bench. Osesa is not on the bench.
yeah.
What
Well,
you had on the bench was Mora, Skip, Gill. That's about it. White and
that's the point.
Scarlett. The rest are defenders. So
That's
and
the point.
Lo Celso is not even injured. He's not
That's
just
my
in the
point.
squad.
That's my
So
point.
I
But
think
see,
Kante has already started his problems, the problems he ran into in Chelsea, and I hope he doesn't run into it here, where you're ostracizing players when you need them. Get to the end of the season and kick them out. Don't start
okay, hold
fixing them
on.
right now.
Hold on. Let's not go too extreme to say ostracizing. It's
Hmm.
just his tactics. That's what I was pointing in the beginning. He
Hmm.
doesn't see the game like that, like playing attacking central midfielders. He'll do it if he has to. Like if Winks, Hoiberg, and Skip are injured or they're dead, you might then see those other players. But usually he doesn't think to play people like Ali, Lo Celso who are attacking through the middle. He wants those central midfield players to be holding players, defensive players. So that's why you don't even see Ali, Lo Celso on the bench. He just doesn't have them as his A or maybe even B tactical plan. And that's why I'm saying once I just looked at the lineup, we're not gonna get anything out of this, even from ourselves. We just didn't have it. We just didn't have it. We would not have it. There's no way to change the game because those guys are not even on the bench. So it was just done. But
Fair
you know,
point. Okay, let me move on and ask you this, so because my next two questions are about looking forward to the end of the season, not just the current form. Just let's try and extrapolate a little bit and look. With Spurs, given Conte's time, Conte's played about 12, 15 games now. I'm not sure of the exact number.
yeah.
What do you think? Will Spurs make top four? Um, what do you think as a Spurs fan, Steven?
Boo G with the question of the night.
Well, hold on quickly. Look at that. Look at that. Look at what Daniel said. Daniel said, Lukaku, hashtag Lukaku big game watch. Expect nothing.
Yeah,
Well, that's
that's
true. Lukaku has been embarrassing a lot of his fans. But
But
Onoche, please, please.
sorry, to Danny's point, what's the last time Lukaku scored against a big team in the EPL?
You have to go back to even when he was in United, and you probably see only like one goal in like 10, 15
Yeah, that tells you
games.
something. But
Hmm.
anyways,
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about Lukaku. I have questions there also. But as far as top four, I would say Conte's come in. I think that was his 10th game. He had 9 games unbeaten, and then Chelsea was a 10th one with a loss. If you look at the other teams for the top four running, I'm going to put Chelsea in the top three. Okay. It looked
Hmm.
like when I checked it, it was Man U, West Ham,
Arsenal.
Arsenal, us, and then Wolves also. Wolves have been playing
That's
great.
right. Hmm.
I'm not even talking about their results.
Their style
See,
of play, yes.
yeah, the style of play. And look at us, right? The way we want to play with holding midfielders. But we have a problem because our actual personnel, those holding midfielders, are not skillful enough to create anything. They're not actually great as defensive midfielders, and they're not even average as creative midfielders. I'm talking about Winks, Hoiberg, Skip. Now, if you look at Wolves, Moutinho and Neves are probably the best creative holding midfielders in the Premier League. I'm not saying this just because of their recent form, but that kind of player is so rare. It's a rare player that can defend like Kante or some level like Kante, but can also create things. These are the players like Didi
Dembele.
Haman, Carrick,
Dembele.
Musa Dembele when he was with us. You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely right. It's a very rare player. You don't normally find that player. When you find one, he can change a team because he can hold and he can see passes that'll just start an attack. They have two of them. So I cannot count them out of just messing with other teams' top four run.
Okay.
Even if they don't get there themselves, they're gonna
You
mess
were
it up.
so you were
So
so focused on bashing your team today.
no, no,
You're
no, no. It's
negative.
not bashing
No,
the
but I think
team.
it's
No, no, no,
because
no,
It's
no,
like
no, no,
it's
no,
like
no, no,
if
no. One
I'm,
minute,
I'm
one minute.
saying I'm
What I'm
saying this
saying
right.
is,
This is the way that Conte wants to play, and I'm
okay,
looking at, do we have the best personnel to play that way? So if I see a coach that wants to play with holding midfielders all the time, then I look at, okay, what holding midfielders do we have? It's not going to be incredible unless he gets players of a higher skill level as holding midfielders.
which is
And
not
that
going to
kind of
happen this
holding
January.
midfielder is really rare. It's hard to get. Remember when he was at Chelsea, first thing he did is get Kante in. Kante is one of the most underrated, like you guys were on the path to saying it. On the ball, Kante is way better than most people think he is. Very good on the ball. Always has a plan, always has an idea, can start the attack. So I'm just saying the players we have for what Conte wants to do, I can't be sure of a top four finish. I cannot say that. When I look at Manchester United has some of the same problem too, because you want to play holding midfielders, but you have Fred and Matic. You got to upgrade. You have to upgrade there somehow at some point if you really want to achieve something. So I'll look at Man U, West Ham, Arsenal, and look at the way that Conte wants to play. I won't say it won't
You're
happen
confident.
because how can you bet against Conte? But I'll say it'll be very difficult. We're here at the 23rd and we haven't done anything in the transfer market. So I'll just say it'll be very difficult. After the January is over, then I'll be able to say. But we have to upgrade before we can set goals like top four or things like that. We have to upgrade those guys. That's all.
Okay.
Even the wingbacks. That's another thing he wants to use. He wants to attack through the wingbacks. Who are the wingbacks? Sessegnon. Sessegnon hasn't got a Premiership game in how long?
He's not even really a
Davis.
wing back, is it?
We got on the right. We have Doherty. Doherty's a player. Doherty's a player we got from Wolves because we wanted to sell Aurier so bad, and we got somebody worse than Aurier. I mean, we have. If you're looking at teams that want to play with wingbacks, have some of the worst wingbacks in the league. We have good players, but it's not exactly
A
in
good fit.
the positions that
Yeah.
Conte wants to make decisive. So it's a bit of a problem there. I'm impressed that he's actually done this 9-game unbeaten run. That shows that he's really coaching there. He's really giving them some actual tips in terms of movement and things. Because just on the personnel, I wouldn't say this team had the skill to be decisive in those two positions, wing back and holding players.
That
When he
makes
went to
sense.
Chelsea, they had great players in those positions. So, you need that wing back to be a little bit of everything. Can finish, has stamina, can defend. Look at Chilwell, Alonso back then when Alonso could run.
But he
Anyway,
can't defend for to save his life.
So,
yeah, that's.
in summary, you are not sure. You're not confident.
I'm
That's
saying we have to upgrade. In summary, we have to upgrade those specific positions I told you, and that's why
well.
on the 23rd, when you asked me on the 23rd today, when we haven't done anything, I
So,
can't say. So let's
so
wait
if
till
by
the
the first,
end of the month.
if by the 1st of February, no
Yep.
transfer, you're not confident. If some
No,
good,
no
pieces are brought
transfer,
in, you have
no
that's
transfer
the
in
caveat.
those two positions. See,
The
Tottenham
defensive
is
midfield and
famous
the
for
wing back.
doing this, right? We
Yeah.
we need upgrades for the team, right? You'll see Tottenham now. We'll go buy a striker. Listen, goddamn. So what has just happened? You'll see Tottenham. We'll go buy a goalkeeper right now, and I'm not saying a scrub goalie. We'll buy a top goalie right now. we might do a deal and get Courtois from Real Madrid right now. But
All
in
right.
those specific positions we need to upgrade for this coach's plan to work. We may not get those guys, and if that doesn't happen, it's not going to happen.
All right. Let's move on. I understand how you feel, but you sometimes cannot see too much into the future. And I think many times the fans of a club are the least optimistic about the club because from outside, I think Spurs are better than they look compared to some of the guys around them. I think they have the best form among the five teams. That's just me. West Ham, Spurs, Arsenal, Man United, Wolves. I think Spurs are playing better than those five. And if that's the pack they're chasing, they might overtake them, especially given that they have two games in hand. And one of them is Arsenal. They beat Arsenal, then top four. That's just me saying. I think if you had the Conte mix and the fact that Harry Kane has not hit form, and I don't see him going through a season without getting that hot. If he gets hot, I think Spurs win a lot of games. But I'll move on. Dada, Tuchel has been under a lot of pressure. I think he's only under pressure because he's a Chelsea manager. In any other club, after 6 months after winning the Champions League, you're not under this kind of pressure. So I'll ask you quickly, 1 minute, should Tuchel be under pressure? If
So
yes, why? If no, why?
so I mean, I have to start first by saying, why is it? Who said he's under pressure?
You haven't
I
been
mean, I don't
hearing
think he's
the jokes that he's about to get fired.
No, that's not true. No, I personally, I think. I mean, so if he is under pressure, I think that's probably too premature. I think Chelsea would finish top four. I think we might win a trophy. Hopefully, we can win the Club World Cup. That's a trophy. We're gonna take it. And if we beat Liverpool, we get the League Cup. So, and I think we should be able to go far in Champions League. Is the team underperforming? Yes, but the team is underperforming. But also at the same time, too, is made some changes, and I really like the fact that it went to a back four against Spurs. One thing I also like too is Chelsea could have easily panicked and gone to the transfer market to buy a left back or a wing back, but we didn't, which I think is a smarter option. Because initially I was like, oh yeah, let's get Lucas Digne from Everton, but then when the other players comes back, then what happens? That becomes an issue. So one has to think long term. So quickly to answer your question, I don't think it should be under pressure. The team is underperforming, yes. We're not getting the most out of Lukaku. Also, at this point, it's really hard to pinpoint it on who yet. I'm inclined to think Lukaku is the problem just based on the chances he's not converting and then the runs he's not making. And also, I don't know why he also looks bigger than he did when he first came. So
Fat shaming.
He
yeah,
needs some bangers and mash. You know,
yeah.
he's
So
into the bangers and mash. He left the pasta and olive oil.
I know, right? But anyway, so I mean, so we'll see. I don't think Tuchel should be under pressure. I think we should finish top four, and I also think Spurs. If I had to put money on it, I think Lukaku should finish top four. I mean, Spurs should be the favorite to finish top four. I think Conte, in spite of limited resources, has done a really good job. I wouldn't weigh the Chelsea results highly. I think if you guys get one decent player in the right spot in the transfer window, even if it's just Adama Traore, I think that would make some. I think it will make a difference. But as Butchie mentioned, I think fans were more critical, rightly so, because you don't want to get your hopes up. But I mean, those are my 2 cents. But yeah, Tuchel shouldn't be under pressure at all.
Yeah, Idris with some comments. Idris said Lukaku is part of the problem. Obviously, he's not scoring goals and he's been whining. And then he also says you're bang on. He agrees with you. Fair point. Fair point.
I have a quick
Um,
question, Bucci.
I would
You,
go ahead.
oh, you guys, I had a quick question for you. You guys have
Hmm.
had Lukaku before for
Hmm.
Man U, and sometimes when I've seen him for Chelsea, especially in the last 3 or 4 games, he reminds me of that Man U Lukaku. Kind of the first touch not working. He's not finishing, not taking his chances. What do you think? And that you've seen him also at Chelsea, in the Premier League. We've seen him in the Premier League. Do you think that Lukaku maybe, maybe at the top level of the Premier League just can't do it? He
You,
might be able to perform in other leagues under, because it's a pressure position. It's different performing at West Brom for West Brom than being a Manchester United striker or a Chelsea striker. Do you
you,
think he has a problem there?
before I drop off here, I remember coming onto the forum to make a point that you know, and everyone kind of got, I don't know, maybe defensive. But first of all, I personally think the English Premiership has more quality than the Italian league. When I said that, everyone's like, "No, that's not true. That's not
That's
true. You
true.
can't prove it." And I let it go because I'm not a soccer expert. But all I know is when this man was in Inter, he was performing miracles. And now, every time he's had an opportunity to do it in the league, the story has been different. So and I'm inclined to believe that maybe the quality is just above him. Maybe it's just not able to perform at the super highest level. Because I mean, Ronaldo, for example, was killing it in La Liga, killing it in Serie A, and he's doing a decent job in the Premiership. So I mean, I totally agree with you on the chain. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just one of those players that is just cannot perform at the highest level. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would think.
I think I agree with you. I don't think it's about performing at the highest level. I think it's the pressures of the highest level. I think that's what he's having problems to deal with. And why I'm saying that is Lukaku. If you take out the Inter performance, his best performances were West Brom, some at Belgium. Belgium is like an underdog team. It's that team where they're like, everything you do, it's good because if you don't win games, people are like, yeah, it's Belgium. When he went to United, he was the main man, right?
Yeah. Don't forget Everton though.
Yeah, of course, Everton, lower team, main man, did it. Went to United, now prove yourself. He couldn't do it. Then he left with a chip on his shoulder, went to Inter, did it, said, I've proven myself now. Let me go to Chelsea as a big dog. And the pressure came on. New manager was, giving him new instructions and whatever. And then that Conte thing where Conte went in and developed tactics especially for him, feeding, special like they babied him in Inter. At the
Mm.
top, nobody is willing to do that for you. You got to be able to take some responsibility for yourself, and so I think that's what happened. And you know, I just believe it was time that I had to leave. I think I had an emergency, baby
Oh
with
wow.
him and all. So we will just continue. We're almost done anyway. We have
Yeah.
just two more topics to go.
All right.
One of them is for me, and I think it will be more about my club, which is it's been 10 games since Ragnick came to Man United. I'm going to ask you to go first. What do you think about him so far? What do you positives, negatives? What are your thoughts?
Uh, First, I would say that overall, I like that they hired Rangnick. You know, he's one of those guys a little bit like uh, he's done the work. He's been through the trenches, gone through different levels of the in the German leagues, and really earned this chance. So I was happy to see it just because because of what it shows, right? You can make it to somewhere like Manchester United, having not being a Mourinho, not really having all the trophies, but he's put in the work over the years, and he does have some trophies, right? So when I look at the results, I think apart from the Wolves loss, right, I think he has managed to grind some 1-0, 1-0 wins. I think they tied against Aston Villa, but he has decent wins against Brentford, uh, of course, Crystal Palace, Norwich, and then beating West Ham yesterday. Once you're beating the teams that are below you that you're supposed to beat, and beating the teams that are in the top four race, also, you can't really criticize him too much because I would say he's doing a good job if he's beating those bottom teams around him. And I'll give him a pass if he's losing the matchups against Man City, Liverpool,
Oh,
Chelsea.
definitely, definitely.
Because actually to make it to the top four, that's really what you need. You don't need to win all those big games, the
That's
matchups,
right.
but you need to do what you're supposed to against the small teams and the teams around you. So he still has a few more games to play. I don't think we played them yet. He needs to play what? He's done West Ham,
Yeah.
Arsenal. I think
No,
that
no, he
was
has to
his
play Arsenal
first.
again. He hasn't played Arsenal. It was the
Yeah, maybe
first
that
game
was
of the
his first
season.
game where Carrick had Arsenal. The
Scarrick
game
had
before.
Arsenal.
Yeah,
So he
and
still
then they
has
lost to
Arsenal.
Wolves.
He's lost to Wolves. He has Arsenal, Spurs,
Yeah,
um,
Arsenal and Spurs.
Arsenal
He's
and
done
Spurs.
West Ham and Wolves.
Yes,
So I think he's doing okay because it's a difficult job. I will say that he has two problems. One is again the holding midfield players. Like what he wanted to come in and do is that 4-2-2 with a diamond with a like a square up top.
yeah,
The holding midfielders he has are gonna lose him those games where he tries that formation. It's just not gonna work with McTominay and Matic. These are guys who are not great as defensive midfielders and are below average as creative midfielders. So you don't have anything. You have very little. And then the second problem he has is that you won't get much playing Ronaldo and Cavani up top against Premier League defensive because most defenses in the Premier League, like I said, like playing Bergwijn and Kane against Chelsea, most of the defensive are not gonna give them that space. It's just not working from a player matchup point of view. Second, when I look at a partnership, if you watch football for some time, you can look at a partnership with two people and kind of see if it's making sense, if it's gonna work. That partnership is just not going to work. You don't see them passing to each other 1-2s. You don't see them running off each other. It just seems like anytime you see one, the other one is way at the other end of the
yeah.
box.
That's right.
There's no joy in there. There's no interplay there. So I don't see it working. So he needs to come up with something else. Is going to be his charge. He had one way coming in, like, hey, I'm going to play Man U like this with the square and Ronaldo up front with Greenwood or Cavani. So I don't see the striker partnership happening. and I don't see the holding midfield being very good. So those are problems he has to fix. If he fixes those, then he's going to have a great temporary stay, as Man U manager.
Well, good points. I don't see much to disagree with. I think the problem United had before him was a matter of confidence.
Mm,
You know, I think the the team fit is not great, but the performances were much worse than the team itself. Because not every team is complete. So to be losing 5-0 to Liverpool, 4-1 to Watford, it was not a Manchester United performance. Those were below them. Now they're performing better. They tightened up. I was looking at the SG stats, and they're just one goal above the SG stat. They're supposed to have scored 15 goals, or sorry, one goal below. They're supposed to have scored 15
mm,
goals. They've scored 14.
mm,
They're conceding less goals than they should, which is not great because sometimes you can't be lucky. So I think they've been a little bit lucky in goals conceded. But then when I looked deeper, I found out that it was only a few games per se. It was only like the Wolves game that they lost. They should have lost
mm,
that game.
mm,
Um, then the Aston Villa draw could have also been a loss because Aston Villa were the better team. And then the Brentford game should have been closer, should have been 3-2 at least.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
but
I agree.
apart from that, the rest of the games they've been better. They've played better as a team, especially in the last 2-3 games.
Yeah.
Where I have an issue, and I agree with you, is I don't see any Premier League team in the long run. Of course, this is only 6 months that he has, but you're not going anywhere with a 35-year-old striker, much less two of them. You have a 35 and a 36-year-old as your main striker. That's not winning you anything in the Premier League. I mean, I'm watching Ronaldo sometimes and I'm going, oh, dude, you're not even putting any pressure on these defenders. They're just chilling and having great games against you. You're not putting them to work. And then you watch other games, he's putting them to work. The level, the drop off is so much, and you're going,
Mm,
okay, that's not
interesting.
good. It's the other guys are consistently bad or they're consistently good. Like since Rangnick came in, Fred has been consistently good.
Mm,
Dallo has been consistently good. Telles has been consistently good. But Ronaldo has been up and down, up and down. Cavani has been the same. He's injured. He plays one game, he's injured. He misses another game because he has muscle injuries and all of that. For me, I think in the long run, that might come back to bite them. But on the other side, they're creating enough chances to overcome those two guys not performing enough. I'll be honest, I don't see those guys. I don't want to see those guys in the starting lineup next season. They should be coming from the bench if they're still here. But I agree,
interesting.
he's
That's a
on well.
huge point, man.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a big statement. You don't want to see them
I don't want to see
like
them in the starting
starting.
lineup.
Hmm.
They shouldn't be in the starting 11 constantly. The
Mm,
way like this whole thing of Ronaldo playing 90 minutes and then when he subbed is mad. Dude, you can't really run 90 minutes at that age. Not with 21, 22-year olds. So his minutes should be managed. It's not necessarily his fault because the team does not have too many people like him. But I think it's a thing where you're starting this game, Cavani's on the bench. Cavani starting this game, you're on the bench. They should be mixing their
mm,
minutes up. They shouldn't both be
mm,
starting games and playing,
mm,
90 minutes and all of that. Though of course Cavani's been managed more than Ronaldo is. But I think Ronaldo too should start getting a little bit more game management so that you get the best out of him.
mm.
That's what I think. There's some comments that came in that I missed. This was Idris was talking about Lukaku. He said it's the prem. You would think he's matured enough to adapt his game, but he went off on the rant on the media. This is a Chelsea fan that is so mad about the rant. And he says also today's formation suits the
That's
best,
funny.
which is fair. Today's formation looked good, but he missed all the chances.
Still mad about the rant, man.
Then this guy goes, "Oh goodness, Peter Rich, Man United. Either you accept the change in football and move on, or you keep missing your ex-girlfriend. Unfortunately, you also need a title-driven CEO. and technical director to direct your future. Lazy king, lazy soldiers, elbow.
I like that. I like that. That's a good point, man. To
Mhm.
win things, you need a title-driven CEO. I absolutely agree with that.
I'll tell
Uh,
you this, right? There's a rumor going on now that Rangnick wants to get Haidara
mm,
from Red Bull, and United are going no, even though he's cheap, because in 6 months, I think his contract is expiring in 6 months. Oh no, he's what do you call it? Clause kicks in, which is cheap in 6 months, and he goes. They go. The rumor is that they can't buy until they sell Lingard, Marshall, and the rest of them out. Open up. And I'm going. No, if this was Chelsea, they're going to buy that guy. They're going to loan Marshall out to Sevilla and pay his wages. Get them all out.
yeah,
If they're playing football and it's easy to sell, nobody wants to buy them because they're not looking good.
yeah,
And that I think is the issue where they're going dollars first, dollars first, dollars first. It's a business and you need to manage
yeah,
those dollars.
yeah,
But if you're not managing your main revenue generator, because if you are not winning trophies, you're not making as much money as you should. So I think that's the problem with Man United, the lack of title driven CEO, title driven winners, technical directors, lack of people, all the people at the top of Manchester United are bankers. So
absolutely.
they'll do debit, credit before they look at the pitch. I think
Yeah,
that's an
it's
issue.
a. I agree with you completely. Just to say that it's a myopic view. The title-driven CEO still wants money. Just because you're title-driven doesn't mean you don't want money. But I think the current ones, the one who are thinking money immediately, is just short-sighted because they
Different.
don't see that if you make the footballing changes and win things, you'll get more money in the long run. They just don't see that.
No, they
It's the
don't.
same problem we have at Spurs. Daniel Levy, he'll go cheap. He'll go buy Ndombele for 65 million because he didn't want to pay the 75 for Bruno. But he
I,
doesn't see that if you get Bruno and play him with a Harry Kane, you can win something. And
that's
then
right.
that 10 million that you save means nothing in relation to what you're gonna make. It's just short sighted. It's so short sighted. It's a sad thing.
It
You'll
is.
see. And anyway, I could speak for this on this too long. I
Yeah,
also say something that impressed me on Rangnick is he has shored up your defense.
that's true.
So he was big enough to try to get Maguire. I saw the first couple of games he still played with Maguire, and I think he was trying to get Maguire to pass the ball, get rid of the ball more quickly.
That's right.
Maguire has this feeling that he's good on the ball, but he's actually very bad when he's pressed. He's
That's
actually
right.
horrible. So he
That's
needs to
right.
just get rid of the ball as soon as possible. Don't dally on it. So he tried to get Maguire there. I don't think Maguire was doing it or he got hurt. And he's totally dropped Maguire, which has been incredible. I thought that was a great move. And you've seen the results in your defense.
I agree. It's helped. It's helped. He's
Yeah.
had balls and he's made some big decisions, and I'm
Yeah.
quite impressed with that. I just hope they can get top four because it's important going into next season. The same reasons why everybody's chasing it because unfortunately, apart from West Ham are looking up. Spurs, Man United, and Arsenal are looking down. And
Yeah.
part of what gets you out of this is getting good players. When you and how do you get good players? You have to get into the Champions League. Because, for example, if you're trying to buy Haaland next season, he's like, I'm not playing in I'm not playing in no Europa League and all of that. So those are
Yeah.
the issues that I think that's why it's very important to get into top four this season. And I can only wish. Well, I'm not wishing you guys luck. I wish us all the best luck, and I wish Spurs and
You
Arsenal
almost
all
did.
the worst luck. I was about to realize what? What? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, come on.
No way, man. No way. Now, we're about to round up. And to round up, we normally do this every week. We ask you to go through from Sunday to Saturday or Sunday to Sunday, anyone you want to do, and let us know who are your donkeys and who are your kudos of this week. It could be one donkey, it could be a couple of donkeys, it could be a couple of kudos. Not too many, but Who are your, you know, if you have both, that's good. If you have one, that's fine. So, who are you giving kudos to this week? Anyone?
Let's see. Let's see. This is a good one. I actually had a few people that I was thinking of for this. Um, it's difficult. It's difficult. I'll go with kudos first of all. Okay, just being positive. I got to give it to Steven Bergwijn, my guy. It's not every day he scored two goals, two buzzer beaters. He literally scored two buzzer beaters. That doesn't happen. It doesn't even happen every decade. You know
Off
what
the
I'm saying?
bench.
And for a player that's usually on the bench, isn't really hasn't really gotten a lot of time, was about to be sold, he might have
Right.
actually saved his career at Tottenham with those two goals. He still has a lot of improvement to make, but hey, kudos, man. It was amazing too, and it's amazing how it happened because he got a yellow card. He was about to fight. He got mad, and they made him mad, and he just
You just went
unleashed.
and lit
He
them up.
unleashed.
You
So I'll
lit
give
them
it
up.
to him for that because it's a huge thing also with players. When you're mad on the field, can you channel that
Into
anger,
the
that
right
upset
place.
feeling in the right way? Because the best way is to be like, oh, you fouled me? Oh, you're not gonna give me this? I'll show you by my skill, not by get mad or doing something stupid. By my skill, that, and that was incredible. I love that when I see it.
That,
Um,
I'm happy for
so
him.
so
He had
yeah,
a good week. Uh, your kudos. Do you have
yeah.
anybody?
Donkey,
No, sorry,
donkey,
your donkey. Excuse me, please.
yeah,
Your donkey. Do you
donkey of
have
the
any
week.
donkey this week?
Donkey of the week is tough. It's tough. I want to give it to Everton. I want to give it to the whole Everton organization because not just because they sided with Rafa Benitez.
I fired that guy.
Why would you side with Rafa Benitez in the first place? Anyway, sided with him, got rid of Lucas Digne, their best left back. Okay, then ended up firing Benitez, and they've now lost to two teams that they really should have beaten or at least drawn with. They lost to Norwich,
That's right.
and then they lost again to Aston Villa with the new coach. So it's just been really bad. A lot of bad decisions, man. A lot of bad decisions. But the one about Lucas Digne will feel really bad because they just went and played him with Aston Villa and lost to his
Lost to
team.
him. Yeah.
So that's just, man, that's donkey stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's
I
real
have to
donkey
agree with you
stuff.
on that. That's really that was really really messed up. Uh, I have a donkey, but I'll go with my kudos first. My kudos for the week goes to that young boy who people keep picking on for no reason, just I think because people are just jealous. And Marcus Rashford,
Okay.
a good week of football. And why it gives me joy is you know what I'm talking about. Like like you were talking about anger. Sometimes in life you just need a break. It's not about that you're doing anything wrong because I don't think footballers. I think football, like a lot of things in life, is it's about habits. You do training certain times, you walk out certain times, you rest certain times, you play games certain days. So I don't think there's anything different that Rashford is doing for training or whatever. All this idea, he's not spending more time in the gym, whatever. It's just people who don't know just talking. But I think it's gotten to him mental. It's in there. It's just going around and it's affecting the way he's been thinking. But those goals this week were not just significant in the sense that he scored one goal in the 90th minute after in injury time. He scored another goal. Both goals were as a sub. First of all, he's now just behind Solskjaer as the highest scoring substitute for Manchester United in history. That's one.
Wow.
Two, he is now the highest scoring player in Premier League history after 98 minutes. He has scored
Okay.
most
Okay.
98-minute goals in the Premier League history. And so that was big as an achievement. But the two goals were just one was a winning goal. The other was also a half because that was a winning goal because it created the opportunity, gave comfort against Brentford. But
Yeah.
those two goals were massive for the boy, massive for the club, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
Now for my donkey, there's only one donkey this week. The Super
Don't,
Eaglets of Nigeria.
don't do it. Don't do
The
Nigeria.
super no, the Super Chickens of Nigeria.
Don't do Nigeria, man.
When you give those people, when those people give you hope, I'm telling you, begin to look around. There's hopelessness around the corner.
Hold on, hold on. But in 2021, is it Nigeria's fault for giving you hope, or is it your fault from having hope?
Bro, this was 2022. They gave me hope last week. I'm not forget 21. This new year, the one joy we're having. This guy's just hi, man. No. And people are crying. There was a video I watched where the guy just started listing all his troubles. This one is expensive. This one, at least I was happy. I was hoping on it. Super Eagles and Super Eagles did this. But on a more serious note, they really were not good this week, and they have to be my donkeys of the week. I would have gone with Everton too, but nah. I'll stick with the other donkey. Would have been the team that dropped into relegation after Newcastle beat them yesterday. Watford, the Ranieri's team.
Wow, yeah.
They could have been my donkeys of the week, but I like Ranieri. I don't want to do him like that. He's one of the guys I like, so I'm not going to do him like that. I'll leave it with Nigeria. I'm very vexed right now. I don't want to hear anything.
That's a good point, though. Watford, the funny thing too, you're right, because they held on to Emmanuel Dennis, right? They didn't let him go to AFCON.
That's right.
He's been playing horrible since they held on to him. He was playing horrible. I said, he's playing so bad. This is the kind of form that you probably get injured off this kind of form. Like everything's just going bad for you, you get an injury. And he ended up getting a red card.
Red card, yeah.
So now he's suspended for the period that they've held him back. So anyway, I gotta go too. So
yeah, man, it's time. We've been here for an hour. Steven, it's good to see you again. Please visit us again, not just on the pod, but come to town. Hopefully, flights will be happening around May. We can do Champions League final again this year. Please, it'll be a pleasure to see you.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to see you guys too, man, and get back. And we haven't talked in a long time.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I haven't talked about so many things, politics and everything. It's been a while, but life has to go on. And I'm very, very glad you're doing well in Toronto. And hopefully, I would also come and visit you someday soon.
Feel free, man. Feel free. We're right here, down just west of downtown, man.
Oh, perfect. That means if I come in, I'll just book a hotel and give you a call, and you show me all around downtown Toronto. I heard it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Everyone that's been there has told me it's one of the most beautiful places on earth.
Only come in the summer though.
For sure.
October to April. Don't even.
For sure. I was in North Dakota twice. I was there in December and I was there in March. The period I spent there, I actually ran out in March because there was a snowstorm coming from Canada. I had to run out, and I don't think I want to do that ever again. Yeah. But it's time to go. Yeah. Thank you, viewers. Those that left comments, thank you. Please watch the videos on YouTube. They're all there. Look at the highlights on Twitter, and please give us feedback again. If there's anything I said that you don't like, please let me know, because I know one thing I do is put my foot in my mouth a lot. But when you do this business, when you talk a lot, your food is gonna be in that mouth a lot. So please call me out. I like it. I like being called out, brother. Have a good one.
Take care. Good to see you, man.
You too.
I'm out.
Thanks. Bye.